Yes, well, we hear the same things all the time about how to prevent colds. And through acupuncture, which is the oldest form of healthcare, one of the things is to always cover the back of your neck. And I thought, well, that was just kind of fun. It's something different to talk about, but it's very true. I've had people, when we've talked about it in the office, be like, I usually have neck pain when it's cold out and this. And as soon as I wore a scarf or put the back of my collar up, it stopped. And it's very true that the acupuncture points, there are several all over the body, but there's a bunch of them, three primary ones on the back of your neck. And so we stimulate those to prevent colds, to get over colds faster. And basically, that bump on the back of your head, it's called the EOP, the external occipital protuberance. There is a acupuncture point just right below that. And then at the dents, basically on either side of your head, when you can just kind of run your finger back and there's a little dent there, there's one on either side. And so when we have anybody like your kids are just starting to come down with a cold or they're feeling a little icky, take, any kind of, we have Biofreeze and Sombra, but, mentholatum, something like that, Vicks, put that all over that area, all over the back of the neck, wrap them up in a scarf, wrap them up in a towel, something like that, and when they go to bed. And you'll be surprised at how much better they feel in the morning. But to protect that, because in acupuncture, wind is a bad thing. It's chaos. It brings chaos into the body. And so you want to protect your body from the wind. And so this particular points along the back of the neck should be covered when you're outside when it's cold.
That's so interesting because, when you think about putting the vapor rub on, most people will put it, they'll put it under their nose, they'll put it on the front of their neck and on their chest.
Which also helps, with comfort and all that kind of stuff.
But to break up the congestion.
Yeah. Well, and you really...
But the back of the neck, I'd never heard that.
Yeah. And so... and it's surprising. It really does seem to help a whole lot. And also, of course, if you want to check and see if their lymph nodes are swollen.
Which is just your glands
the
right
glands
in here?
On either side.
Yeah.
And just massage them down. Don't massage up. Massage them down a little bit when you put that on, because you want the lymphatic system is basically removing all of the stuff from between your cells, not in your bloodstream, because that's in the circulation, but in the rest of your body. So between your cells and everything is the lymphatic drainage is what we are looking for. So when we start to get some sort of cold or virus or anything like that, the body then the inflammation in the body goes up and it's removed through the lymph system. And so then that's when these get swollen and sore and bigger and all that. So just when you use that, whatever it is that you're going to put on, but just massage them down and make them softer a little bit, and that helps drain that whole thing, and so it removes a lot of it.
Now, how come you don't learn that from, we didn't know any of that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
You go into the doctor, they go, oh, yeah, you're swollen. Oh, yeah, here's a couple of pills. But, there's...
it's a manual way to do it.
Yeah.
And it's...
that's all good stuff.
It's just it's comfort, because I guess they don't really think of it that way. And you do it a couple times, but you'll be surprised, if it's really hard and you massage it until it's kind of softer. That really does bring down that swelling a little bit. Yeah. Now, it'll build back up when they, overnight, that's going to fill back up. And so just kind of, but clean it out, it feels better. Now, you do need to drink a ton of water, a ton of fluids. Yeah. As, we all know about colds, you need to do that. But a lot of that is to flush out all of everything that's going on, which a lot of it is that inflammation in the body. And so that swelling and all that, when you do drain it out into the lymph system, you've got to have enough fluid to help it wash all the way out.
Oh, okay. So there's that reason as well. Drink plenty of fluids actually serves that purpose as well, other than thinning out like mucus and things like that.
Thins mucus, and also just dehydration is your biggest problem with that.
Right.
Because that's what people like with a flu and that where you have vomiting, diarrhea, you're dehydrated. And with colds, you tend to you're not hungry, you don't want to do it. You really do need all those. You need fluids.
Right.
Absolutely. Dehydration always becomes a factor in any kind of illness and that kind of stuff. The other reason to continue to drink plenty of water is one of the major defenses is our mucus. And so all the way down the lining of the esophagus, one of the things we talk about is don't touch your hands or to your nose and mouth. because you don't want to bring those germs up closer to where they can come into the body.
Right.
But they're coming in not just to the lungs, but into the alimentary tract, which is the mouth all the way through the esophagus, all the way down to stomach and everything else. That everything that's right here is covered in mucus, and that whole line. And so if that dries out, that's when you actually have that germ get past the mucus. It's there to trap it. It's there to prevent it from entering the actual body. And so if that dries out, that means it gets up close enough to the cells where it can cross over into the body.
Yeah, I had read that one of the things that zinc does and those cold ease type of products do is they keep that mucus
there. It's a
there.
mechanical barrier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's why it's a lozenge that you suck on and that kind of stuff to do it, so you don't just take a pill. It's actually coating it. They have the stuff that you squirt in your nose. They've had some problems with that. Some people have had problems with smelling and removing their sense of smell, and it didn't come back.
Oh, wow.
So that one's a little tougher to recommend. But the one that you suck on, the lozenge, it's a fantastic idea.
Is that something that you just do when you have a cold, or is that something you could do every day just as a preventative measure, or is it not going to affect you every day?
I would really probably not do it every day. During the cold season, maybe if you're going to be around, like you said, the large group, maybe that's a good idea.
If you happen to be a school teacher
yes,
in an elementary school or something like
absolutely. Well, and that's...
Or a chiropractor.
And actually, what is it, Airborne was developed by an elementary school teacher.
Yes, it was. That's right.
You know? And so it was an herbal remedy as well as the high-dose vitamin C, all the things to prevent getting a cold. And so there's lots of things you can take just to keep your system well prepared to fight off infection. But honestly, not bringing in the germs, and so by having proper hydration, not touching it to your mouth, nose and mouth, coughing into the elbow where you're not sharing it. We all have heard these a million times. It's good to kind of remind ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important. We all need a reminder of all that stuff.
And now when you go into the grocery store, interestingly, in hospitals, the big concern is handrails, is because everybody, and in all major places, you will see people vacuuming all the time, mopping the floor. They clean the floors, but they don't necessarily clean the handrail. And so that is actually a much greater carrier. And germs, cold and flu germs, actually live quite a long time outside the body.
Do they really?
Yeah, depending on what it is, it's like, hours to days. So you can run across it without ever seeing that person.
Yeah, the handrails, that makes a lot of sense there, that could be, you could be sharing all sorts of things. Now, obviously you said wash your hands, all the time, cough or sneeze into your elbow, not into your hands. Stay away from sick people, of course.
Always a good idea.
That is hard to do, though. It is very hard to do.
Especially when the kids come home and they're sick now and they've brought it home with them.
Or just if you're doing everyday business.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things is flip up your collar, and not just for fashion. Now, that's something that I guess it was real popular in the 80s, I think, for everybody to do that.
We were just having
Diane
fun
Sawyer
with that.
apparently does. My wife mentioned that. She said Diane Sawyer always has her collar flipped up. It's one of her thing, or maybe they just have cold air blowing on her. So,
well, surprisingly, but it will. It's not just it's colds, but people will have a stiff neck when you have that cold air blowing and that kind of stuff, and so you do want to prevent that.
So exercise also helps. Of course, exercise helps everything.
It really does, because again, you're improving metabolism. You are improving the rate at which everything in the body turns over, and so. If you are wanting to fight off a germ and that kind of stuff, you just want everything on, it's turning on the engine. It's getting things going faster.
And I've known, there were times when I would go out and exercise not feeling well, and you feel better afterwards because it just opens you up. You can breathe better.
Increases rate of breathing, again, moves it, and it did the same thing we were talking about with the manual massage of just moving that out. It's moving all of the mucus and everything inside the lungs. It's just giving it it's shaking it up as if, back in the old days for a lot of lung conditions, they would actually just hit them on their back
Right.
to break up all the stuff in the lungs. And
Well, isn't that's a cystic fibrosis?
yes, yeah,
They do that
exactly.
as well.
Yes.
That's a more extreme thing. But
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you could do that yourself with exercise.
That yeah. That's it's so interesting when you find out the real
That there's a
reasons
real
and the real
reason.
things the real things that go behind it besides the old wives' tales, or like you said, mom just saying sit up straight.
Right.
Well, there's a reason behind that. I would assume that if you're tired or under stress and your immune system may be weakened, that a scarf can actually help you be stronger because you don't have to fight as much. Is that kind of the theory behind that? If you're worn down, you've worked hard, or you're just under a lot of stress because it's the holiday season, you've got parties to go to, or things to get, and that.
I'm not going to say that it's about the immune system. It really, for acupuncture, it is just it's a fact that you just shouldn't allow wind and cold to be on your neck. So it's one of those things where Western medicine and Eastern medicine don't agree on why. There would be a whole reason, or it's not even that they don't agree. It's just that the philosophies are totally different, because one is about the movement of energy in the body, and the other one is about the well, this does this, and so there's a cause and effect. And so for acupuncture, the cause is the wind or the cold, and the effect is chaos in the body. And so you want to eliminate that. So, I mean, it's a different philosophy.
Yeah.
But, does really a scarf hurt you?
Wrapping a towel around your neck helps.
It does.
With
Well, again, put that Vicks mentholatum,
Okay, so
Sombra,
you mix all that
Biofreeze
stuff up.
around all the way back. Put the towel around so that it stays on and doesn't get all over your sheets and all that kind
Right,
of stuff.
right.
But no, you'll be surprised, because that heat then helps that menthol penetrate, and you'll just feel better.
Sounds like a plan.
It does. It keeps the, as we talked about, that lymphatic massage kind of thing.
Right.
It helps soften this area
just by
too.
keeping it warmer.
Yeah. Well,
in a sense, or?
and the actual menthol, camphor, all those things penetrate and help.
Now, you also recommend a product called Emergency. It's EMERGEN-C.
Yes.
Tell us about the product.
Oh, it's a very high-dose vitamin C, but what's different about it is most vitamin Cs you see are ascorbic acid, and that takes a little bit more, it takes one more step for your body to process it, whereas this is an ascorbate instead of an acid. And so it's just an easier form of digestion for the body. It is able to absorb more of it quicker, easier, without that other step.